Welcome back to B2B Growth. I'm Logan Lyles with Sweetfish Media. Today, I'm joined again by Dorothea Sieber. She's a repeat guest here on the show. She is currently the head of content strategy and thought leadership over at Adobe. Dorothea, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited.
I am excited to have you back. Today is another episode in our 5 Things series. If you're new to listening to this series or B2B growth in general, we are oftentimes bringing on repeat guests that have shared some great marketing knowledge with us in the past and talking about the 5 things that they can't live without in work, in life. And it's been a lot of fun. Some people have been sharing their favorite apps or things that are just helping them in their day-to-day, both personally and professionally. So Dorothea, let's kick it off with number 1 on your 5 things is man's best friend or woman's best friend in this case, right?
That's right. And it's not really a thing, but I just couldn't have it not be on my list. So it's my pup, Milo. It's a mini golden doodle. And he just makes every day so much better. Like no matter, how my workday might have gone, he's wiggling his tail and just excited to see me when I come home. And he lights up my life.
That's awesome to hear. I'm a dog owner myself. I think we were chatting dogs last time because I've got a Labradoodle. Interestingly enough, last time that we got together, Dorothea, have you always been a dog owner and kind of found that companionship is always just like that positive bump in your day, your week, like you were talking about there?
Yes, it really is. I grew up with dogs, so it's definitely one of those things, that can be quite challenging at times, especially when they're puppies and
Right.
they're too quiet for a little bit too long there, which usually means they're in trouble. But other than that, yeah, definitely one of the things that makes every day great.
I love it. We are big fans of our pets on the Sweetfish team. We're working on developing a whole Slack channel just dedicated to pets, but our random channel on Slack is usually full of a lot of pet photos on our distributed team here at Sweetfish. So you've got people on the team here that definitely agree with you in your thinking there, Dorothea. Number 2 on your list of your 5 things is actually a thing. It's actually a combo of 2 things that you can't regularly live without. Tell us what's number 2 that made your list, Dorothea.
Yes, and I think when I sent this to you, I said, sadly, it's my iPhone and Apple Watch because I think, on the one hand, I love and rely on both of those for work, for a lot of things in my personal life, but it's definitely also something that I'm very conscious of how much time I spend on it. So
Mhm.
my Apple Watch is something that really helps me be very active and just kind of reminds me I'm a very active person in general, and so that's definitely something that I just really enjoy kind of seeing, that I'm active throughout the day and that kind of encourages me to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything that you've done? I've seen, I don't have a smartwatch myself, but it seems like it's becoming more and more commonplace for either, an Apple Watch or whatever the case might be. And I see people kind of struggling with like it's doubled the amount of notifications that they're getting, those sorts of things. Have you found any tips or tricks to make sure that, your smartwatch of some form or fashion is helping you and giving you the right sorts of reminders and not kind of overloading you with more that we already have from our desktop and our phones, those sorts of things. Anything kind of spring to mind since you've been wielding the 2 pieces of technology now on a daily basis?
Yeah, so I'm definitely conscious of the notifications that I have on my Apple Watch, and I turned off a lot of them. So I mostly have kind of calls, texts to make sure that I get the important things, but I tune out on a lot of things that are unnecessary. Exactly to your point, because otherwise you're just conditioned to always kind of, look on your watch on what's happening, and you don't get anything done. So that's definitely been one of the things that I'm trying to be very conscious of, and also just keep checking as you download new apps on your phone automatically, you get
Yeah.
notifications on your watch. So you need to definitely be conscious of that and turn those off.
Yeah, I completely agree. I have actually changed all of my push notifications on my phone set to off unless it is. I think I've got just text and calls. I mean, even email and Slack. I'm trying to delegate certain times of the day, and it's good to hear. We kind of do these things of I think this is going to help me out, but I'm not sure. So it's good to hear kind of validation from you that you're kind of taking a similar approach there. And I've done the same thing, like downloaded a new app and I was like, oh, I thought I had everything muted, but this new one I forgot to do it. So, maybe just a food for thought from your feedback there, Dorothea, to, download a new app, make it part of your regular routine to just silence the notifications or select which ones you want very thoughtfully right there from the get-go as part of the downloading process. Number three, you talked about fitness with your Apple Watch, how it's helping you. What's number three on your list? Because it's in a similar vein, right, Dorothea?
It is, yes. It's what keeps me sane every day. Just being in a very high performing and, very busy job every day. I love working out and meditating at times just to kind of keep my mind calm. And really doing that actually at the beginning of my day has really helped me stay very focused throughout the day and just be a lot more positive and ready for the day. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Number four is video conferencing for you. If you have a specific app that you really love there or a recommendation, would love to hear that. But I think just in general, I've had a lot of folks, I put out a post the other day about when you join a conference call and people don't have their video on, what do you do? And I had no idea the sort of response I was going to elicit with that simple, like, 2 sentence question post on LinkedIn. But people tend to get riled up and passionate about, oh, I always have my video on, or I don't. I hate when people ask me this, that, and the other. I know you've got a distributed team. What role does video conferencing play for you, and why did it make your list of your 5 things, Dorothea?
Yes, and there's definitely, sometimes peer pressure to turn on your video, which can be not so good depending on your day. But I think video calls are definitely very important to stay connected to my team. I have some people in actually Colorado, where you're at, and also in the Bay Area, kind of distributed. So it really helps just being able to connect with people, and you definitely do connect with people differently over video. It also actually helps me just in my personal life. My family is all over in Germany, so I'm the only one in the US, and it's what keeps me connected to my family. I can see my nephews grow up and kind of see their faces, and that definitely helps just to keep that connection and being very close to them as well.
Yeah, I love hearing a little bit of the applications for both work and personal life there. I've started to do that more. People who listen to the show know that I'm a big proponent of BombBomb to be able to send videos. And a lot of people in sales know of tools like that and the humanizing effect that it can have. Since I've been using the BombBomb app to send one-to-one videos via email and text and those sorts of things, I found myself doing it with friends and, acquaintances I want to catch up with and that sort of thing. And so it's kind of interesting to see how some of those tools, as we start to adopt them at work, help us in our personal life as well. So as we round out your list of 5 things, Dorothea, the last one is something that's been repeated a few times here, which I guess is good for the folks over at Slack. But Slack rounds out your list of 5 things that you can't live without. More work related on this one. Tell us a little bit about some of your tips and tricks when it comes to maximizing Slack in your day to day.
Yes, for sure. And I think Slack has really helped me just, communicate much faster than sometimes through email with a lot of different teams. We have a lot of Slack channels. One of them is actually Adobe Pets. So we have we have a channel where we do talk about our pets and dogs as well. But even with customers, we have channels where we actually have some of our advocate groups, and we, have informal conversations with them over Slack. So I think it really can be used, one, obviously connecting with your team, getting quick answers on things that you kind of need. And also you can, same thing as, with everything else, you can kind of tune in and tune out of channels that you might be interested in. And it's helped collaboration on a lot of different fronts for us, especially because we're a very cross-functional team across many different locations.
Yeah, absolutely. I love to hear that you guys have started some customer and advocate groups or channels on Slack. We've been thinking about that as far as, maybe another engagement strategy for ourselves here at Sweetfish or our customers podcasts. I think that there's definitely some power there, especially as I mentioned, we've been doing this series for only a handful of weeks now, and Slack has come up over and over again. And so just kind of good marketing, right? Like, go to the applications, go to the spaces where people are comfortable, where there's less friction. So I love to hear how you guys are leveraging Slack to engage with your advocates and share great pet photos. I mean, both sound like just great uses of of the technology on equal fronts. Well, Dorothea, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. If anybody has not checked out your previous episode or isn't already connected with you on social, what's the best way for them to stay connected or reach out to you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. You can either reach out to me through Twitter at D_Sieber or just find me on LinkedIn. And I look forward to many engaging conversations, either around pets or dogs or marketing.
I love it. And for anybody, Dorothea, just before we let everybody go today, you mentioned several things about managing a distributed and a remote team. One podcast that's been on my radar recently is one called Distributed. I'm forgetting who it's by and who the host is right now, but if you search Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts, Distributed, if some of the things we talked about on that point today might be useful for you, check that out. We've been getting a lot of value as a fully distributed team here at Sweetfish on that. Well, that wraps it up. Dorothea, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much. Love the suggestion. I'm going to follow it right now. Thank you.
I hate it when podcasts incessantly ask their listeners for reviews, but I get why they do it, because reviews are enormously helpful when you're trying to grow a podcast audience. So here's what we decided to do. If you leave a review for B2B Growth in Apple Podcasts and email me a screenshot of the review to james@sweetfishmedia.com, I'll send you a signed copy of my new book, Content-Based Networking, How to Instantly Connect with Anyone You Want to Know. We get a review, you get a free book. We both win.